Mega Man 3, where down and jump is the slide input. The dash button has a completely separate input. You can double tap to dash as well. I'm not sure how many people actually rely on that. I'm not sure who's playing on emulator. I think we just saw Darko going through the virtual console. And goodbye, green biker dude. We hardly knew ye. So anyway, this intro stage, all the X games have an intro stage. Main thing you're looking to do here is just not get caught by these first 3 barricades, and otherwise, go fast. You do start the game with the dash, unlike the original Mega Man X, so we get to go fast right away. Just charging through here. There's really nothing that special about this stage. I think the big thing to do here is shoot this guy, because the collapsing walls cause lag. Although Darko just charges right by, I didn't see any lag at all. There is a boss here. He's not that powerful. And yes, I believe we had a slight pause on Darko's stream earlier, as chat's already noticing, just to sync the timers up. So Darko here is at least trying to execute a fight. So there's a setup here. I think it's about 5 or 6 shots. I think it's only 5 to kill that giant robot as quickly as possible. And really, that's it for the intro stage. SuperTwoU with a very slight lead after Darko got hit by the giant robot. So there is some plot in this game. 3 mysterious figures keeping an eye on X. More on them later. Pretty much every route of this game starts out with the so-called reset sponge. This is a pretty RNG heavy fight when we finally get to it. But there is this stage here. One of the nice things about coming to the sponges stage first, you can get the heart tank that's hidden in the top left, and Darko just went right by it, which is telling me he's going without the Shoryuken. So he is going to go with your assumed any percent as a low percent category. SuperTwoU trying to make this rather tight jump to get around that wall, climb up there and reach the sub-tank. So this is going to be very interesting. This run, basically, this race is going to rely on, besides normal movement, can Darko execute all the refights without the Shoryuken faster than SuperTwoU can? So with that extra time gain from the beginning and not having to take a few attempts at that sub-tank, Darko's already up to the wire sponge. The big thing here, there's 2 things the sponge can do that really annoy players. It's that twirl attack he did almost as like a kind of introductory pose, and you can see lemons are already bouncing off of it. And he might get angry later. You'll know it if you see it. Much like the original Mega Man X, dash lemons. So if you dash and then fire a shot, whether you're in the air or not, it will do 2 damage to bosses. Why? Who knows? But it's nice. He really wants to take out the sponge before he gets down, and it looks like he was successful. The sponge never got angry, which is great, because that wastes a lot of time, if it ever actually happens. Shinsero, this is going to be the race that proves that, well, any percent means any percent. RTA, and let's talk about this a little bit, as there's the sponge getting angry. You can't hit him when he gets angry, and you have to dodge this lightning. But, most players running any percent are going to get most of the items in this game. The only thing you don't get for any percent versus 100%, in 100% you do have to collect the 0 parts. In any percent, that's long, it takes extra boss fights, you don't want to do it. Usually though, you do collect everything else so you can get the Shoryuken. Darko has already skipped a heart tank, and it's really the easiest heart tank to get in the game as well. And he also just went by the Buster capsule. It was up there if you weren't looking and you don't know where it is. You'll see SuperTwoU go there shortly. So Darko is going kind of a true any percent route, from like a true lower percent route anyway, from what we can see. We'll be curious to see whether he gets any items at all. And I'm going to guess he's not, because like I said, the Wire Sponge Heart Tank's got to be the easiest item to get in the game. So Darko's going to do some climbing here. It's some quick X movement. So SuperTwoU here, he's got to get up this shaft, and he gets up on the very first try. Very well done. You do have to have either the boots upgrade, which gives you an air dash, and you need Gator's weapon from this very stage in order to get those boots, or you have to make that very precise kind of strike chain shot, which grapples X into the wall, allowing him to kind of jump up. He just barely can catch that wall. Strike chain also useful on Wheel Gator. So I've been told yesterday by the people who actually know this game, you have a 5-frame window to get this infinite combo going against the Wheel Gator, and Darko executes it flawlessly. If you don't hit him in that window, Wheel Gator dives under the motor oil or whatever that's supposed to be. And, well, it wastes a lot of time while you can't hit him. You don't want it to happen. So SuperTwoU, jumping just under those spikes. SuperTwoU did a little damage boost to jump off a spike wall a few minutes ago and grab a heart tank. You can see SuperTwoU, and you'll see Darko as well throughout this run, use the strike chain just to gain frames, basically, firing it into walls that are just out of reach to pull X towards them. See how SuperTwoU handles the Gator fight. You can see those counter hunters, those shadowy figures we saw earlier, beaming onto the, I guess, overworld map of the stage select as Darko goes to Stag third. A little surprised he's going Stag third, even without the Buster upgrade. I will admit I am not the biggest expert on this game, as SuperTwoU unfortunately has Wheel Gator dive under the oil. So usually you go Stag third to be able to use the charged version of Flame Stag's weapon, which effectively gives you an extra air dash, a longer one. You'll get to see it on SuperTwoU's side quite a bit. As he's working on this Gator fight. Looks like he's almost got him, although the Gator appears to have X. 3 damage. That's all you need with the strike chain. Darko has already climbed up the long vertical section at the end of Flame Stag's stage. That is actually a pretty rough section with those diving enemies lighting the gas on fire. It's very unpleasant if you don't know what you're doing. And Darko, we blinked and he's gone. So now for the Stag fight, it's a little bit of a vertical fight. Obviously, he's very practiced at it, so it's not going to be a problem for him. Again, Dash Lemons. Flame Stag's weakness is from Bubble Crab, who has not been defeated yet. SuperTwoU is Venks. Good to know. Either way, Darko is done with Flame Stag. SuperTwoU going there as well, so we're probably not going to see a lot of route variation here. SuperTwoU does, because he's going for the Shoryuken, have to get a sub-tank here. Well done with that strike chain charge shot. Charge version of it, besides being slightly more powerful, does give you a lot of extra distance on the strike chain. Good use of the charged Gator wheel there to take out all the enemies on that drop. Darko going into Morph Moth, so forget everything I said about same route. Morph Moth is going to be very close to the end of SuperTwoU's route. Darko is going to go all the way through here. You are going to get to see some ledge jumps. This is more common in X1, where when you're walking down a slope and you jump, there's a little extra height. That's really the only place you see it in this game, since you can dash from the outset, and in X1 you use that to gain speed before you get the boots. But it's the only way to get the height to make those jumps. Just one of those little points where knowing a little extra tech helps out. The SuperTwoU is moving into the Stag fight, while Darko has already dispatched one of the giant robots. So again, this is the Mega Man X2 any percent tournament. Typically, I think most of the runs you're going to see in this tournament are going to be, as we like to say, 98%. Darko is going with a low percent strategy here. We'll see how it works out in the end for him. He's probably going to be in the lead for quite a while, though. It's going to be the end game where we're going to see significant differences. Darko is through the second big robot. It does get a grasshopper on his head. Those things, I guess they're trying to hack X as they kind of plug into the back of his head, and sometimes you're stuck jumping around randomly. Low percent, I mean, besides being a little risky because you don't have any upgrades at all, you don't get the Shoryuken. It's pretty much the only reason the other, the 98% run is 98%. You need all the upgrades and all the sub-tanks and all the armor parts to get the Shoryuken in the third, I guess, final stage. And that, it doesn't one-shot bosses, but it certainly makes it look like it if it's executed properly. So basically, Darko is pinning his hopes on he can kill all the endgame bosses faster than SuperTwoU can without it, the Shoryuken. 100% again requires the 0 parts SuperTwoU in Magna Centipede's stage. 2 items in the stage. There's the heart tank. Don't destroy that cannon if it drops down. You need it to get up there. I'm sure somebody knows another strat. I think I saw somebody get up there with that. SuperTwoU, don't get crushed. So this block here, he's going to use this to get to a sub-tank. So both the items are at the very beginning of the stage. This sword boss, SuperTwoU using Strike Chain. Maybe that is the strat. Again, do have to apologize for not being a complete expert on this game. Now this section you want to kind of fall through. Every spotlight you get. Darko scared me for a moment there with why he wasn't crushed, and then he did get crushed. Sad, unfortunately taking a death there. So we'll see how he recovers. So those blocks fall faster the more of the spotlights hit you in the vertical shaft section immediately before it. And every time the little targeting kind of icon in that previous section touches you, this mini boss gets stronger. Of course, this being a speed run and everybody kind of being practiced at the game, no trouble there. The base form, you just shoot it with a lot of wave burner. So SuperTwoU in here now, fighting the Centipede. Now, Resetipede, as some may call him, weak to Silk Shot, which we don't have, and that leads to a very long fight. So SuperTwoU is going to try and execute something funny here, and it looks like he didn't get it. If you do it right, those like segments of the tail in that attack kind of keep going around X and never actually connect, and you can kind of spam strike chains on the Centipede. And there's nothing he can do about it because he's kind of caught in the animation until those segments lock on to X and figure out what they want to do. The unfortunate thing about Centipede is every time he is hit, if he's not in one of his 2 main attack animations, he will teleport away. So the goal of this fight, without any other strategy, is to hit him whenever he's standing still. Besides just being annoying when he teleports away, it's pretty laggy as well. So Darko now also in the Centipede fight. Again, they're on different routes, so I wouldn't call this a tie by any stretch. SuperTwoU looks like he's going to survive with one more shot. And he's through. He does have sub-tanks. I don't know if he has energy in them. If you're sticking around from Mega Man 3 and you're not familiar with the X series, of course, sub-tanks, kind of empty energy tanks, similar to reserve tanks in Super Metroid. You have to pick up extra health when you have full health to fill them up. And there, Darko does finish the Centipede with 2 Silk Shots. He did intentionally, I'm assuming, hit the Centipede while he wasn't doing anything, so he was going to teleport away. Hitting him with the Silk Shot first knocks off his carapace, his armor, whatever you want to call it, and then the second shot there for the kill. Good job by Darko. One moment. Doing that does make it so it does get all the way across the screen. I must have muted my mic at some point by accident. Sorry, everybody. I'm talking to myself. So yeah, that snail fight, as you probably all saw, pretty easy whether you have the charge shot or not. You can just dash that shell to keep it away and just keep hitting with the mine. They're both in Ostrich's stage. Wish I was actually writing down who is killing who here. I feel like there's have a couple of differences. But the goal here is don't crash the bike. So Darko is not going to want to get this heart tank. So he gets to ride the bike all the way to the boss door. Jeez. Let's see if Venks can do it the same way. Venks needs to make a couple of stops on his way through this stage. So you kind of blink and miss Darko going through it. So Venks needs to get this heart tank without crashing the bike. Okay, attempt 2. There comes a point you should just get the heart tank and not worry about dying anymore. It looks like he is going to make it. So Darko is in the ostrich fight. They have the weakness in the snail. It should be good to go. There is a glitch here that I think I only heard about earlier today. It's been known to everybody else besides myself for a very long time. You can shoot the ostrich in the air with a lemon and then immediately hit him with the crystal. Get credit for both shots. So, you know, speeds things up a little bit. Not sure where Venks is slowing down yet. I'll have to look a little closer. Venks obviously picking up the boots there. He now has an air dash. Makes his life a little easier. Darko, I believe, was just moving on to his last Maverick in the crab. Venks, besides the crab, I think might still have Morph Moth to take care of. Chat is loving the low percent run here. So, Darko now, the big feature of Bubble Crab stage is this sub. And right here there's a door, a gateway that doesn't even open up until the sub arrives at it. You can destroy the sub before it gets there. But it would seem the low percent route is not equipped to take care of it that quickly. Not a big deal. Once that door is open, as you can see, you just kind of get right here back onto, I guess it's dry land. Yeah, Venks going into Morph Moth stage next. He's going to pick up his last piece of armor here, the armor. So he is going to get this heart tank up top. Don't get to see any neon jumps there today. We might see some later in the run, though. Darko fighting the crab. The big thing with the crab fight is every time he's struck by the wheel gator wheel, I'm trying to remember what its name actually is, but he basically runs over to wherever X is horizontally on the screen and jumps up, so you could basically trap him on top of the wheel or beneath it. So Darko taking him out, no problem. And TFB414, thank you for following, Venks. So that is the 8th Maverick for Darko. You can tell because there's Dr. Kane on the screen. It looks like Darko's ahead by an awful lot, and let's be honest, he is. The question, again, is can he take care of the refights faster than Venks can, since Venks will be able to basically one-shot them with a Shoryuken. Not just the refights, but also Final Sigma. So, the first X-Hunter stage, the big feature of this is you have 4 of these wall closing sections, and of course once that wall starts closing it's very laggy, extremely laggy, so you want to make sure as best as you can that you take them out before that happens. Darko trying to do it with Silk Shot here since it explodes into 4 pieces. I think that one started to close, but it wasn't a big deal. So when Venks gets here, the boss of this stage, Violin, is really trivial. You have armor, you have health, you have a charge buster, so you basically stand in his hitbox and make it just end his life. Darko, though, is going to get here and have to actually shoot some bubbles and dodge the giant ball and chain. This is dangerous. I was talking a little earlier about the 100% requires fighting 3 bosses. The Violin fight's basically the same in that situation, except it doesn't have these blocks in it. So the reason that fight's dangerous in 100% is because X doesn't have armor and he has the smallest life meter, which you might notice Darko has. Either way, Darko has obviously done this before. Makes that fight look easy. I'm guessing those hits he was taking at the end were intentional since the body does less than the ball and chain. Venks, I'm noticing now, just barely survived that Morph Moth fight with a single point of health. Good job, Venks. Darko's going to go into what is actually a pretty short stage. I'm a little curious how this is going to work out since your players that have a charge buster here tend to use the charged fire dash to get underneath some of these elevator platforms up ahead. And we can't see it on Darko's side. That same platform should be there on the left side. Maybe it's just copy the stream I'm watching. But it looks like he's going to have to wait for it, so he's going to have this cycle waste. I'm going to say wasted. You can jump on top of the water, so that part is at least easy enough. Venks is going top route here to get this heart tank, and then he's going to go back under the same path Darko took through Bubble Crab stage. He's going to have to stop halfway through to get a sub-tank, although before that he's going to fill his sub-tanks. The charged Silk Shot can be used in a few rooms in this game to do things like this, pull in lots of large health drops. Very useful for filling your sub-tanks. It's actually a good reason, especially as a race strat, to do this stage last if you're going with Stag third. So he has 3 full sub-tanks and 1 newly acquired empty sub-tank. I'm not sure why that platform wasn't visible either. I don't know if that's a graphical glitch or if that was like legitimately something that happens with the route. Seems odd, but trust me, it was there. So Darko, usually you would fight Surges here with charged... I'm trying to remember what the Ostrich's weapon is. I know it has Cutter in its name. He is using a combination of the burner here and the remote mines from Centipede to take him out. Venks is finishing things up against Bubble Crab. Darko needs to be a little careful with his health. Does wrap up the fight. Every other shot that comes out there, one kind of does a plus-minus kind of split, the other more of an X-shaped split going out on the diagonals. Conster and New in chat letting us know it's probably a sprite overload where you can't see it, but the hitbox is still there and you can still use it. Sonic Slicer does sound right. Thanks, Shin. Okay. So Darko in the third stage. This is the one you would... Well, Venks is going to pick up an extra item in the stage Darko is in now. So Darko, this is going to be the first boss he has to fight that Venks effectively won't. So he has a very nice climb. He does have to be a little careful here because he doesn't have any sort of dash in the air upgrade. Doesn't seem to even care, notice. He's just speeding through the whole thing. He's taking damage boosts off these grasshoppers again. He doesn't really have a lot of extra health. Well, that last grasshopper helps him out. See how Venks handles... Venks does not have a shot ready for this guy at all. Venks is showing off there the silk shot. When fully charged, attaches a large pile of garbage to X's arm that breaks up wildly. Always forget that Agile's actual weakness is the centipede mine. So the Agile fight can be a little rough. There's that giant pit in the middle. Whew. Missiles at you. This is a fight you don't often see, even casually, once you've learned how to get to the Shoryuken. So well done by Darko to get through it without it. Welcome to low percent. Venks, as you can see, has the charge bubble out. Basically forms a ring of bubbles as a shield around X, and all you have to do is stand right in front of him. Violin goes down. X taking half his health even with the armor just from standing there, but Violin dies first. So Darko into the refights, starting with X2, much like starting with classic Mega Man 2, there's a teleporter room. So with no need to collect any extra health, Darko can go straight into the fights. I think he's hoping that Magna Centipede can set him up that kind of easy centipede pattern. I'm not sure if it works on the left wall. Looks like he's going to try for it. It looks like he's got it. You can kind of see the segments of the tail are trailing around him. Meanwhile, Venks is going to go for this skip. He skipped the first section, so a little time saved. He's going to wait for the second. Darko, meanwhile, is using Strike Chain here. Does 2 points of damage a shot. Finishing him off with a Silk Shot. Is he going to cut the sponge in half? I would wager he is. So Venks is going to very shortly get to the, I guess, 98% edition of the Surges fight. There's Darko now again with Wheelgator, trying to get him into the combo. 5 frames, everybody. Well done. Venks has taken out Surges' wall of cannons. Looks like he's going to try and get some double hits in. You can kind of fire it directly in his face, and if you do it right, an initial shot will hit him, and then the shots will still go up and rain down on his head, so you get two charge hits for the price of one. I think I missed something for Darko getting on the other side here. I don't think I've actually seen that before. That was pretty sweet. So, obviously the ostrich, not prepared for Darko being on the other side to start that fight, goes down very quickly. Shin mentioning a strat here, you can do a charged magnet shot, much like he did originally against the Crystal Snail, to take out some of the cannons before the fight even starts. Not too big a deal since each cannon can be taken out by a single silk shot. Worth noticing, though. Darko with the easy bubble stag fight. Venks is now in the agile stage. Darko in a very strong position to win as more and more Mavericks go down in the refights. I mean, and there's a neon jump from Venks, but Darko's lead may be too great at this point. Venks with another neon jump there. We'll see if he goes top route or bottom route. Neon jumps in this game, the X Buster, when you fire it twice, well, when you get a pink charge, you get 2 shots out of it. And for whatever reason in this game, as it was phrased to me earlier, you are grounded whenever you fire a shot with it. So if you're in a dash and you jump and shoot at the same time, the game gets confused and thinks you're on the ground and lets you jump again. That lets you go the bottom path to get here. A little safer, sometimes a little faster. And Venks now is armed with a move that Ryu once used when you push forward, down, down, forward, and then punch. Maybe I should say can use it, because it is on fire. Not sure why Capcom decided that it shouldn't be Ryu or Ken Dr. Light this time around, though. So you saw Darko do this fight earlier with a lot of mines. Don't blink. And it's over. Meanwhile, Darko is continuing the refights, taking out the crab, same way, a little more dangerous. This is the one refight I think that really changes since the ceiling against Bubble Crab is now spiked. So the goal for Venks now is to get through these refights so ridiculously fast with the Shoryuken that Darko cannot possibly finish the game without it before Venks does. So in theory, this is where the comeback begins. In practice, I think most players do the snail last. So Darko basically has the first chunk of Centipede stage, which is the final stage for some reason, and then 3 life meters. Darko with a swag shell there. For some reason, if you're dashing when you get frozen, sometimes the shell will just bounce off you as if you were still dashing. So they're in the same room. Explosions from bosses in this game take an awfully long time. But again, Venks can just kind of go in and hit them. So as I understand it, if you connect with the Shoryuken, the first hit does 16 points of damage, half a boss's life meter. I think it's every other frame that you are still punching the boss, it does more damage. Forget exactly how much, but you get the idea. You're seeing the results. Venks with a nice setup there, tricking the crab into jumping over his head. Always easier to Shoryuken an enemy that is above you. So the other part about the Shoryuken route through the refights is you generally want to kind of keep the bosses more likely to hit you for the end. Much like the Mega Man X1 Hadoken and Wheel Gator takes a dive, that's not good. Much like the Mega Man X1 Hadoken, you can only use the Shoryuken when X has full health. Venks cannot get a combo going here. Wheel Gator really is the killer of runs. This is Darko navigating the final stage, which looks an awful lot like Magna Centipede stage. So again, I mentioned it, if you do the 100% route, you do have to fight the counter hunters, the X hunters, extra times in the stages. The benefit is you don't have to do this zero fight, which is actually pretty rough casually, but Darko should be able to do it just fine here. Fire, I believe, is the weakness in that it does 2 points of damage, plus the fire trail that you can just kind of barely see, sometimes it's getting optimized out of the video feed, I think, but it is there if you play the game. Trailing into Zero's feet does extra damage. Well, not extra damage so much as damage. So Zero's down. Of course, once enough damage is done, Zero snaps out of it, remembers, oh yeah, X is my buddy. He tells him, you take out the core. No, you take out Sigma, I'll take out the core. Zero wants the glory. Venks, meanwhile, getting through these refights still. It seems unlikely. Although Darko, again, no upgrades, no sub-tanks. That's really kind of the big threat to him at this point, as Wolverine Sigma is ready to go. Weakness is the Sonic Slicer. So it looks like Darko is going to stick to lemons and the like. I don't know the low percent version of this fight, to be perfectly honest with you guys, so I'm kind of assuming Darko is executing it. He's using a lot of green charges, which I'm assuming do extra damage. And does wrap things up with the Sonic Slicer. Is this a TAS? Darko is doing his best to make it look like one. Venks still working through the refights, even though he is making very short work of some of these bosses. So here's Wireframe Sigma. Not as big Sig. Weakness is the Strike Chain. It is really the fastest way to take him out. Without Strike Chain, he can only be damaged by at least a second charge, the Yellow Charge Buster. Fortunately, some of those enemies he spawns will drop health, because this is otherwise a very long fight. So Darko making use of a somewhat little-known fact of this game. If you hit an enemy with the crystal and dash into it, it will drop weapon energy, without a doubt. Venks done with Morph Moth. And Venks is done with the refights, but Wireframe Sigma is red for Darko. Means he's almost done. This is like old-timey bosses. So you can stand still and get trapped inside the head. I don't think Darko wants to do that without any sub-tanks and with this little health. Oh, he's going to go for it. And there you have it. RaceBot reporting a 38-28 Darko, proving us all wrong on most runners are going to go 98% and get the Shoryuken. Winning this race Shoryuken-less. Well done. Venks, meanwhile, you might remember he was, I believe, like 2 full X-Hunter stages behind when he got there, done with the 8 Mavs. And here he is, Darko basically just wrapping up these 3 bosses as Venks arrives to fight those 3 bosses. So that tells you how much time it can save for a mere mortal as Zero goes down. Normally, like you saw on Darko's side of the screen, X kind of gets stuck on the same very distant starting position. If you use the Shoryuken to enter the room, though, you can kind of get stuck halfway across it and you get that double Shoryu off on Zero. Even if you don't hit him quickly, I mean, 16 is half a life meter. Just hit him twice. Why does he do it without a Shoryu? I would assume the answer would, like most things in speedrunning, why did you do this? He thinks he can do it faster. And in the case of this race, he certainly did. Well done on Wolverine Sigma. Not easy to get off a Shoryuken on this guy. And again, you saw how many hits it took from the strike chain, how long that fight dragged on, having to get caught inside of him to make sure he got it. Venks, meanwhile... Oh, he gets hit, but he has these full sub-tanks. So he's going through his... This is the only problem with it. He gets hit again. He's just giving up and going to the strike chain. You saw Sigma get a little bit of a darker shade of red, and there you go. I mean, not quite the fight he wanted, but it's not that bad. RaceBot reporting a 40-47, an 8-minute race PB. So as we were kind of hoping there, actual PB, assuming from the red on his timer, this was not a PB for him, but it's a huge race PB. Welcome back to SRL, Venks. Fortunately, Darko just too strong with the low percent route this time. Congratulations to Darko on winning the first match in Group H. This was the third match overall so far in the Mega Man X2 tournament. Just started yesterday. So again, more matches will be happening here on Speed Gaming over the next few days and weeks. I'm not sure if we have anything else tonight. Well, there you have it, folks. 1:30 a.m. there will be a Mega Man X2 race. I think you said Trogdor was in that one? It's Trogdor and I guess that's Jorge? Or George? Yeah. Jorge and Trogdor will be racing at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, so just under 3 hours from now. We do need to figure out if someone can restream that match, but if not, you could always watch a multi-Twitch. Other than that, I think the next planned actual restream for sure is currently 3 p.m. tomorrow, another Mega Man X2 match. So make sure you follow Speed Gaming. Definitely follow the two runners here. SuperTwoU is the Twitch channel for Venks, I think. And Darko is Darko. So that's it for now. Don't think I have anything else to add. Just congratulations to Darko once again for the win. So until next time. Don't lose cape doesn't really work here. I guess don't forget Shoryu. Let's go with that. Have a good night, everybody.